Well then, it's a brand new day. It's another day when Nigerians are electing another president and, of course, members of the National Assembly. Well, when I say another president, of course, it will be a new president nonetheless, whether it's the sitting one, whether another one will be elected, but then, of course, it's going to be a brand new one. And so it's Nigeria 2015 here on Channels Television. And of course, like I did say, we will be keeping faith with you until the elections are done and dusted, especially this phase of it. Well, at this moment, we are being joined by a security consultant, Chief Oladende Ario.
Good morning. How are you?
Fine, thank you. Well, a very good morning, everyone. We were here late last night. We're here early this morning, and so it's an unbroken sequence even as we keep track of what's been happening as far as the 2015 general elections are concerned. Well, Chief Ario, we actually had this discussion earlier in the day, or late yesterday, so to say, and, well, you were just rearing to offload. So what was your experience at your own polling unit?
Thank you very much. Incidentally, my polling unit was a shouting distance to Channel Studios. Right, we got to the venue as early as 7:30 in the morning. There was nobody in sight, no INEC official, no police. The first inkling that they won't be coming on time was the fact that the local community development agency was in charge of giving people numbers so that as you come in, you have a number to know how it's going to go. Now, they didn't show up until about 3 p.m. Okay, and of course they came in so obviously unprepared. People still welcomed them, settled them down. I was accredited at some minutes to 4. I was number 84. And of course, we were clearly over 380 where I registered. Oh, by the time they were finishing that about 5:30, they said they didn't have ballot papers and that they had to go somewhere else to get ballot papers. And I was like, why didn't you guys do this before now? Let me also not forget the fact that the card reader didn't work. And that there was this back and forth argument whether to do manual or not at all. But because people said they wanted to vote, they had to agree for manual accreditation, and that was done. And all of these, you know, as they were unfolding, all these events, they were taking away people's joy or their determination to vote. Some kind of voter apathy was coming on. We had to continue pleading with people, assuring them to hang around. Eventually, at about 8:30 p.m., they finally said, well, they've gotten close to their boss somewhere, and he said we won't be having the election and that it should take place tomorrow.
Sorry, can you tell us what area this is, what you're talking
This
about?
is a sharing note, precisely. Okay. Remember I said it was a shouting distance to your studio. I assume everybody knows where Channel is anyway. Right. And, you know, it became very rowdy. And like I told the people that came, of what use is keeping people here since 7 a.m., only for them to go home without voting?
Now, as far as you know, the fact that virtually everybody was accredited, are you starting that process from scratch tomorrow, or are you just going to be able to go and use the accreditation from today to vote?
Well, Chief Ario, hold that thought because you definitely will answer that question. But for now, our correspondent, Seun Okimbaluye, who was roving Lagos State, probably didn't get to your area, but then, of course, let him give us a perspective of what happened in other areas of Lagos. Seun.
A most anticipated day. The city of Lagos unusually deserted, but well, it is understandable as uniformed men mount roadblocks. For an exercise slated to commence at 8 a.m., Surprisingly, at the center of the city in Ikeja GRA, ad hoc officials are seen just setting out at about an hour later than scheduled. Few minutes away at Onigbongbo Town Hall, voters are already apprehensive as they could not fathom what could have held the officials back. And to some other parts of Ikeja, precisely at Olowu area, accreditation did not start until past 4 p.m., so it has to be done manually, and so voting and accreditation processes collapsed into one. Though it was a sort of piece of cake elsewhere in town, for example in a place like Surulere area where Governor Fashola and his wife cast their votes.
If this is a sample, so far, but we need to now see the totality of the situation. Don't forget that this is a logistic operation going on nationwide. There will be faults here and there. There will be late arrivals, transport, logistics fail. Vehicles can break down.
Unpalatable is the story here at Isheri North area of Lagos. Some of the voters have been waiting since 7 a.m. and unable to vote 12 hours after accreditation, then sees they must cast their votes as they are afraid of what may happen to their electoral materials after their accreditation exercise.
It's annoying for us to use our time since morning to this time and was unable to cast the vote. But I'm just begging you and I'm assuring you that your accreditation letter is in safety. Nothing will happen to it. By God's grace, tomorrow morning by 8, we will be here to attend to you.
Accredited voter is 382. 382. And we have told them that when voting is done, the voters cannot be more than the number of accreditation. And
mixed bag it has been for most Lagosians, but with the shift in the window, it might just have brought in a rather dim chances of hundreds of voters who are yet to cast their votes. From Lagos, Sheung Okimbaloye reporting for Channels Television News.
Well, thanks, Sheung. And right on cue there, just after Governor Fashola mentioned the fact that in a process like this, there definitely will be challenges, there will be faults, logistic issues, vehicles breaking down, and things just happening to the electoral umpire, maybe to delay the polls somewhat. And then, of course, we had that situation in Isheri North, where the people actually experienced that particular problem. But then you heard them say, look, we are not moving an inch from this place until we exercise our franchise. And not forgetting that that actually is Chief Ario's neighborhood.
That was my polling station. You know, for me, it has taken INEC a long time to come this far. As much as you do not expect a 100% situation of perfection, it's uncalled for. Okay? For me, to start with, if you say we're using a card reader to authenticate cards, voters, and all of that, it shouldn't be, it's not rocket science. And all the unpleasant things that we experience today should never have come up. But we were there, we were monitoring Facebook, monitoring Twitter, and all over the other media platforms. And we're getting very discouraging reports. Of course, we never thought ours would be like that. But what happened? At the end of the day, we were just there, and some people shouting. And they were lucky that ours happened to be an elite area. Why to have been elsewhere, the story would have been very different.
We also saw, sorry to jump in, that from our reporter in Port Harcourt, what happened in Rivers State, where it's been said that elections did not hold at all, according to some of the government officials there. My point that I want to raise